Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Game to the Max and part 14 of our Hearts of Iron 4 Old World Blues Enclave Redux mod. So, in the last episode, quite a bit had happened. We had bring the Realm of Diana into the war with us, and they helped us defeat the Iron Alliance up here in the north. We moved on south and have been increasingly pushing against the Republic of Mexico. We pretty much restored our control here in Texas. The only holdouts are this little part right here between Houston and Austin, and then we're pushing through Louisiana, heading towards the Bayou Motors. All these troops right here are cut off, and all of these troops right here are cut off. I'll actually move my robots right there. On top of that, we had restored the United States and did the Calhoun, not inspection, but the, I was trying to say audit, but audit's not the right word. Anyway, they kind of went back and they were like, okay, the old United States and the Enclave did do a bunch of atrocities, and so now we have the Reparations Act, and this will help us kind of repay for all the atrocities that the Enclave had done. I don't know why I can't think of the term that they were using, but so yeah, we have the Reparations Act. We also did down Mexico's way, taking the Baja Peninsula and forming it into the Mexican Reclamation Zone. Don't think there's anything really else. We can send some stuff over to our territories over here, like Odyssey and stuff like that. We did also form, let me scroll up here because we did pass it a second ago, a helping hand. In here we've done the Gannon Doctrine instead of Firmus Granite. This is allows us to send couriers to incorporate the different areas of the United States. So we've got the Ciphers, Circle Junction, Foragers, the Sorrows, and I think the Baggers are all part of the... Oh, and Odyssey. We're sending couriers to Odyssey and the Baggers, and then the Lord's Anointed, the Badland Buckaroos, and the Timberlands are becoming federal commonwealths, and the Foragers as well. So, different things here. We can send them over to these other places as well. So first we're gonna do this. It's gonna be the Houston, Circle Junction. Ciphers and Sorrows will all get pressure economically, so that'll work out for us. But let's start on up, continuing to fight. We're going to try to knock out the Republic of Mexico up here in Texas and continue on our fight. Our power armor divisions are marching through the old capital of theirs down here. Chop Shop wants some... No, it's fine. Organizations. Buy some of that. Buy some of those. Buy some of those. So yeah, we're aiming for Talalik Slayer.
This is Enclave Maincom. This is Enclave Maincom.
Trying to get these guys to push out. We do have what's left of Kaiser's Legion up here. Ooh, we got the better power armor researched. Production. The APA Mark 1 Advanced Power Armor. Takes a lot of energy. It drops us a negative 300 energy there. But with this territory here taken, should be the end of the remnants of Khazar's Legion. winding our way through down here. Just the same as over here.
Enclave here.
And over here, my
Enclave here.
cavalry under the major is making quick work. Take Lafayette. Construction speed. The Baggers and Odyssey will become federal commonwealths. Let's see. Ready up the power grids. We do make almost 100. I think it's, yeah. We make a lot of caps. So 1,396. Of course, it's NCR dollars. And the reason we went with NCR dollars,
This is Enclave Maincom.
because a lot of people were afraid that their money would be useless after the war. Which was true. Most of it was.
Enclave Maincom. Enclave here.
Who else is up here?
This is Enclave Maincom. Enclave here.
Your troops can go right here.
Enclave here. Enclave here.
Your army can go over here to Laredo.
Enclave here.
The Brotherhood of Steel. The American Schism. We may be at opposite ends of the American spectrum, but the Enclave and the Brotherhood are cut from the same cloth that is the American flag. While many see the Brotherhood as a fetishists, one cannot deny that they lived up to the values rooted in their origins with the United States Army. We both come a long way since the dark days of 2242, with our power rising and theirs falling, with much of the Brotherhood spread out across desperate chapters with little in common with their original goals and organization aside name. Many in America are still bitter and resent the Brotherhood, but a growing number wish to return them to the American fold, and nothing more than to avoid wasting Americans' lives, since they are one of the few organizations capable of matching us in technology. They can join us or die. I wonder, did we actually have a hand in Mariposa? But it's not to answer that one. Which we can do, they can join us or die. We can do promote the exchange of ideas. Then become a puppet. Huh. Let's see. Texas, we don't have Austin. We can do the Fair Labor Act. Or American for Automation. Well, we'll do the manual labor.
Enclave here.
Yeah, it looks like my cavalry force is pretty much taking what's left of Louisiana there.
This is Enclave Maincom. This is Enclave Maincom. Enclave main comm.
Let's just cut these guys in half.
This is Enclave main comm.
You all keep pushing.
This is Enclave main comm.
Carving the Mexican eagle. Once again, America has beaten Santa Anna like a drum and prepares to descend into the general's lair. Now the question arises of what will deal with the Mexican territory occupied. Some Americans have no desire to intervene in Mexican territory, but Lynette and her enclave supporters contend many of Mexico's resources would do better in American hands. Of course, we could try to hold on to all of Mexico, but that seems like quite the task of a nation that's still struggling to build after 200 years. Wasn't Petro Chico a Delaware corporation? Guerrillas can lead Mexico into a great future. Wasn't Petro Chico? I don't really like the idea of that one. Gores, which is the leader of the reclamation zone. Yeah. Because they're going to be a puppet of ours anyway. Research the Gauss rifle. So what we can do at the end of the fight is probably just give them all of this territory.
Enclave here. Enclave here.
This has been
Enclave here.
absolutely nasty fight. Not so much that it was hard, but it's such a large area to fight that we've struggled to really.
Enclave here. Excellent. This is Enclave main comm.
Make really well advancements. That territory should be knocked out.
Enclave here. Enclave here. This is Enclave main comm. Enclave here.
Destroyed. Destroyed.
This is Enclave main comm.
Oh. I thought they had surrendered. Or just auto-saving. Just auto-saving. A new academy for a new era. The Army today finalized the construction and set forth the criteria to accept the initial candidates for the West Coast Military Academy at Fort Hunter Liggett. Granite made a special appearance to shock military members and their families. The president gave an impromptu speech emphasizing the importance and the future of America in the coming years. As we push ever east, it will be you brave men and women at the forefront, leading the spirit of America back to its home on the East Coast. Remember, you represent over 500 years of honor, prestige, tradition, and culture. Latest in an unbroken line that stretches to George Washington at Valley Forge. Maybe some of you will have the privilege of planting an American flag on the very hallowed ground. For now, though, now we must prepare for our times ahead and the battles to be fought. Godspeed and God bless America. Adds Hunter Liggett Academy. Thank you. The foragers sent me some equipment because you guys are now federal states, right? Yeah. Manual labor congressional passes Fair Labor Act. The Senate today passed the House bill for the Fair Hiring of Labor Act, first law in over 200 years meant to protect the rights of the common man against automation. The Senate voted unanimously in favor of the bill, backed by several labor organizations and NGOs that spoke of the dangers to an economy over automation. The bill proposes that every automation a corporate utilizes in production, there must be 3 organic workers hired at the same time, creating a 3-to-1 ratio. Several robot repair and production entities decried the law as damaging to their market and have issued a challenge to the bill, but it remains to be seen if the bill will take effect. The president expects to sign the bill into law in the coming days. This won't have any negative consequences. The right to work, weekly stability gain plus 2%, production efficiency negative 5%, recruitable population negative 3%, and then trade tariffs negative 5%. That's not as good as I was expecting. And then, what is it? The stripping the vaults. We'll do that.
Enclave here. Enclave here. Enclave here. This is Enclave main com.
These guys up here are fine.
Enclave here. Enclave here. This is Enclave main com. Enclave here. Enclave here. Enclave here.
He's destroyed.
Enclave here. This is Enclave main com. Enclave here. This is Enclave main com.
And then my cavalry
Enclave
forces
here.
pretty much done.
This is Enclave main com.
Infinity Knights declared war. Puts me at war with the Infinity Knights. Right on.
Enclave here.
Take you. Rush up there. And
Enclave here.
we'll take you. It's a lot of room to travel here. Send you up there. The defenses are online. With our jamming fields deployed around the base, defenses barely had time to come back online before their targeting software was scrambled the heck and back. Our soldiers had all the time that they needed to set explosives and destroy the now useless turrets. Our scanners also revealed additional subsections of the base not accessible by personnel. We theorize they hold top secret equipment. Get 10 units of fighters. Awesome. We just annex, let's see, I want to annex the Sorrows. We'll send a courier to Bayou Motors, yeah. The Forgers, Badland, Buckaroos, the Lord's Anointed. Yeah. Alright, that's good to me. Thanks.
Enclave here.
Who are you you go north.
This is Enclave main com.
You also go north. And who else do we got? Economic resurgence. That should be everybody that is able to head north.
Enclave main com.
You also head north. You're gonna request your forces.
Main com.
Show me field commanders. There's one Hooker Jonathan Potters. Can I not promote anybody? No.
Enclave here.
Yeah, stall them or something, Timberlines. Do something. These guys got a lot of units.
Enclave here.
Ulysses. Try to get up there as well. We should return the lands to Mexico if they want it. We do need to do that, but after the war. Fire axes, huh? Tlaloc Slayer. That still doesn't capitulate them. Little laggy.
Enclave here.
Let's just walk right to the refinery. We'll do both. Mexican Reclamation and the true Ejército Mexicano. Pause. I know it's really laggy right now. Stripping the vaults. The vaults were not designed to save anyone. They were designed for American eternity, to help America leave the world and survive on desolate planets. Many vaults are failing after some 200 years, but there are still plenty of industrial gear we can refurbish and maintain, but some scientists suggest we can always do more research. Knowledge is the greatest treasure, or research gain efficiency. Oh yeah, we can put the fusion plants in our cities. That one wasn't bad. Our workhorse. Well, these guys are up here at least, while the rest of our forces move north. We can scroll up here. Restore the, what, Naval Air Station, power grid. The refinery fell.
This is Enclave Maincom.
The lands of the Mexican Reclamation Zone. The Mexican Reclamation Zone has lodged a formal request for us to return Mexican lands to their administration. While there was nothing least of a shower of thanks and support for our assistance in the land of the Titans, it appears several within the Mexican Reclamation Zone is wanting to get on with rebuilding Mexico without having to constantly request permission from the U.S. military administration in the region. Meanwhile, some members of Congress have questioned our latest military appropriations. There have also been rumors of unrest among the Mexican population who are starting to sour at the notion that they traded up patrols of Olak robots for the flower wars, and the flower wars for powered armored soldados and leaders who don't only speak Spanish. We can return to them, or we get all.
Enclave here.
Let's destroy these guys. Was that them capitulating? Yes, it is. A lot of stuff. All right, so we'll of course take everything here. It's gonna take forever to integrate. Actually, let me just click on all of what Khazar's Legion has. All the Iron Alliance, all of Heaven's Gate. All of Texas. And Louisiana. Could always form the Republic of Texas. The Provisional Republic of Texas. Or I guess it'd be Puppet. We can take Navy. Actually, I know I'm not supposed to be puppeting nothing. But if I puppet them, so puppet, satellite you guys. And demand their resources, right? Then take state. take all their navies. Submit demands. Two sons, enter the sows, and cancel all. Yeah, we'll take all then. I'm good with that. Confirm and exit. Don't crash the game. Should have saved. Alright. Let's see. Install police forces. Restore all of these places. This will take forever. Alright, the corpse, we're not entirely sure what the heck is going on the sunken remains of Corpus Christi Naval Base, another set of remains of a strange green citadel filled to the brim with rotting plants and other strange flora. The Navy's hope of restoring our Mexican Gulf Naval Base quickly have been dashed as well from the damage but from a massive hurricane that ravaged the Texas coast. Between that and the aforementioned citadel, repairs are going to take more time than usual for this one. Demolition teams armed with flamers and incinerators are on out as we speak. What is going on here? Seriously. Right on. We can do Vault 22 and the Legacy of the Sierra Madre. We'll do both of those. Restart the Air Force Academy. Have the Timberlands join us. Form the Pan-American Alliance. Yeah, so let's do the Mexican Reclamation. Trigger the epilogue detailing the fate of America for the best rules to finish the election, press, and segregation treaties. Okay. Form the Pan-American Alliance. So we create the faction. And let's start doing this one. Compensations for the victims. Reparations Act, victims of Vault-Tec and the Enclave. In accordance with the Reparations Act passed by Congress, all persons who have suffered by the Vault-Tec experiments, whether pre-war or post-war, are to be entitled by the following: psychological aid by the medically licensed psychologist. If descendants of military personnel or former personnel, if ghoul or supermen from pre-war, is to be paid $1,200 US, as well as given the benefits owed in accordance to the GI Act of 2057. If a ghoul or mutated supermutant from the vaults, to be compensated with $20,000 US directly with a natural stipend of $5 US daily. Any persons who entered experiments, whether they be hero, overseer, or security, are to be given a regimental medal for their push to not let logic dictate emotion, and vice versa for being able to do the right thing. These persons are also to be compensated a varied amount depending upon their actions in the line of duty to end Vault-Tec experiments. Any persons directly affected by former Enclave sanctioned experiments or military activity are to be compensated with $1,500 US. In addition to such reparations, funding set aside by the Congressional Budget Committee is to be used to build a memorial in the city of Los Angeles in honor of those who have suffered and lost their lives to the experiments, with each and every vault becoming a federally funded museum to warn of the horrors of pre-war. Well, it's the least we can do. This will strengthen the Reparations Act, but give debuffs to consumer good factories and caps income, and add nothing happened. Well, the least we can do. Executive oversight. The Reparations Act. During the days on the rig, the Enclave ruled absolutely. There was no check and balances on the president's authority. Even the pre-war U.S. was guilty of such sins. Of course, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Perhaps it is no surprise the Enclave turned out as we know. In order to prevent a repeat of the situation, the Calhoun Commission suggests forming an independent oversight body as a check on the powers of the government. Shockingly, we have realized that we never thought about oversight against executive overreach until now. Perhaps we should form a standing oversight committee on Congress as a check and balance. And external oversight NGO run by the former Calhoun Commission member also could help as a second line of defense against President Richardson. Create it. Might as well make Congress do something aside be rubber stamps office, or we can police ourselves. Gains executive investigation for 600 days. Okay. War criminals. The Reparations Act, war criminals in the general staff. I was ordered to go in there and destroy the mutants. That was my job on that day. That was the mission I was given. I did not sit down and think of in terms of men, women, and children. They were all classified the same. Oren Moreno at his trial. Shocking news is hit at our army. Ex-soldiers going by the name of Cannibal Johnson and a former NCR Ranger turned U.S. Marshal by the call sign Aquamarine have released an expose implicating numerous members of the officer corps in war crimes, most notably Oren Moreno. Apparently, Marshal Aquamarine found Johnson somewhere in the Mojave, and both of them worked together to uncover the evidence on Enclave war criminals hiding their past. Due to their seniority, many of these war criminals ended up in senior positions in our army, their past buried under a mountain of lies until now. Punishing them will certainly affect our combat effectiveness, but we must do so if we want to remain true to our Reparations Act. Punish them. We get retire Oren and Moreno. We get guilty soldiers, which sides army experience gain negative 11%, recruitable population negative 2%, division attack negative 3% for a year. Investigate the scientists. While the FEV scientists have been executed as part of our Purge of the Purists, there are many other veteran scientists still under our payroll. These scientists were not involved in the FEV research, but they knew of it and did nothing to stop the research, the FEV research. While they are not guilty of any criminal offense, the Calhoun Commission reported blasted them for morale cowardice and suggested their employment be terminated. However, firing our veteran scientists will kneecap our research capability for some time. Research speed negative 15% for 420 days. We'll just do all the investigate the general staff, reparations victims. While the dead tells no tale, they do have living relatives in the aftermath of the Calhoun Commission. Many of them are coming forward demanding monetary reparation for their unjustly slain relatives. Considering our non-discriminatory targeting, the sum we have to pay will burn a hole in our budget. Or we can only offer token compensation instead, although they will not be happy over it. Pay them the full amount. Yeah. And then trial of the vertibird pilots. I was just following orders, a phrase repeated uncountable times during the trial of the vertibird pilots. There's a reason why wastelanders once feared the sight of vertibirds in the sky. Their speed and firepower allowed them to obliterate entire villages within minutes. It's no surprise the bulk of the Enclave atrocities were committed by vertibirds, and by extension their pilots. As part of our Reparations Act efforts, we have organized a war crime tribunal for vertibird pilots. Should they be found guilty, it will bring ease to our citizens knowing that justice will be done even decades later. However, these pilots have valuable knowledge that will be lost if imprisoned or executed. Gains guilty pilots, which H generation chance negative 5%, air support mission efficiency negative 10%, and air experience negative 11% for 400 days. Following orders is no excuse. And that should be done with the Reparations Act. Finish that one. End of the Legion guerrillas. With the Legion's collapse, guerrilla raids on American forces come to an end. On to Chicago. Removal of the Legion's guerrillas. We remember America in the darkest hour before his election. Granite asks, is there anything left? Anything that still carries America's voice? The president's decision to save flag staff demonstrated his faith, and the answer was yes. America didn't need nukes. It needed the slaves who deserted in the dark night, the followers who spread their teachings in the land of the Midwest Brotherhood, and the Minutemen who held the line against the Institute. Granite was flawed, and he made many mistakes, but he turned the Enclave into a bridge between the old and new world. He brought the United States together. Thanks to him, there would be men and women who wore its flag proudly at Hoover Dam, at the Second Alamo, even in the Capitol Wasteland. Men and women who walked off and into a history deeper than they knew, the men and women of America. God bless the Enclave. Red State Candle Shop. We'll just buy some. Get a little bit of stability there. We'll send some couriers down to Honduras. And let's see. We're redoing all those. The Legion marches. There shouldn't be a Legion. So repair the next turbine. We can do that. Because the Hoover Dam. We're repairing that one. It's quite a bit of power. It's actually going into construction. Oh boy. This will take a while. Continue on. Rename the state to Vault 13. A vault outpost was established. Should the state be renamed? Would Lake change the name to Vault 13? Sure. build the better assaultrons. Alright. There grows the plant. Since our return to the Mojave, we've heard of rumors of Vault 22, in particular notes of Thomas Hildren of the NCR Office of Science and Industry. He spoke about a vault of green plant life and what could be an agricultural boon if secrets could be unlocked. Well, we know the secrets of Vault 22. It was actually one of our more benign experiments and should have been a roaring success. Of course, Vault-Tec had to screw it up. For all the horrors of the Vault program, this one was unexpected when an experiment on the pest control fungus caused it to jump from insects to humans. The entire vault was infected with weeks, and only a few escaped into the wasteland. Corpses were reanimated, and the entire vault was written off as a loss with no data as we watched zombie-like spore carriers being infested or began infesting the vault. Still, we could send in a team of scientists with the next work. Perhaps we could recover some data there. Unlike the NCR, OCI, and Vault-Tec, our labs are the best in the wasteland, and they're more than capable of handling the horrors of the vault. Dispatch a team armed with flamers. Lands of the reclamation zone. They become owners of everything, and we get resource rights to the refinery, which was where? Right here. We'll just give it all to them. Don't crash my game. Nope, didn't crash.
This is Enclave main com.
Alright. Now we'll redo our military at some point.
Enclave here.
Let's aim up north with you guys.
This is Enclave main com.
Did I not send robots up here?
Enclave here.
Send you all forward.
Enclave here.
And you guys. Start seeing if we can drive them back. We should be done with the Legend of the Sierra Madre. Some of these states should be joining us soon. There's our workhorse. I'll have to rebuild the Texas Commonwealth. Oh, there's the 4 states Commonwealth. Again, since the Enclave has become an established government, we've been restrained by the wasteland economy. However, there are rumors of a hidden casino in the mountains of the Mojave that contain riches beyond anyone's belief. Backed by a strange radio signal starting to begin again at the Sierra Madre, unfathomable riches are what we could mostly effectively use to our own gain. However, everyone who ever ventured there has never returned. Followers, prospectors, NCR Army and Rangers, even a Brotherhood assassin has gone missing and ventured to that forbidden place. It's a great risk, one we can easily prepare for with the might of the U.S. Army, plus the benefits of a separate pre-war casino can make the Wastelanders forget their woes for a while and take some power away from New Vegas. Oh, a casino. I'll bring my best suit. Or we'll focus on pragmatism, not hedonism. No, we'll begin the Sierra Madre chain. The Green Mile demolition teams moved in, covered above by modified vertibirds armed with flamethrowers. The troops burned their way into the canyon, encountering a variety of hostile flora and fauna before reaching the entrance to the vault. Burning their way in further, the officer in charge discovered that their filters were being filled up at a rapid rate. Having been briefed on the spores in the vault and ordered the team to fall back, the medical checks found they were uninfected, but regardless, it was a good call. The demo team is requesting additional filters before heading back in. Our science team is also stocking additional filters on their suits. Keep me posted. Yes, please. Little vault of horrors. The armored demo team struck the vault once more, this time armed with more flamer fuel, and having largely cleared out the entrance hall, they reported the vault is a massive state of disrepair and the elevator is out. Curiously, the vault is further infested with giant mantis. Though they weren't as much of a threat to soldiers armed with flamers, they also encountered the spore carriers, torching the mutant beast as well as the air around them to keep the spores from getting into their filters. The team is setting up a base camp at the second floor oxygen recycling center, with the science team hoping to use the system to unleash a deflauant that would kill all the plants and spores within the vault. Thankfully, aside a constant need for new filters, the troops are in good spirit, given the effectiveness of fire against the plants. Now, sure, fire up the... Where's that at? Right there. Install police forces, ready the power grids. We can bring my legitimacy up. Construction wise, once I get some of that consumer goods factor down, I need some more war support. Which means I need to be at peace, at least for a little bit. Discovery of the presidential proportions. President granted astonishing news. Air Force One, we found it in the ruins of Denver International Airport. Scavengers team reported a particular airline with an absurd amount of automated defense systems covering it. When our troops approached, a few recognized the blue and white paint job as well as the markings in the interior of the plane. It's worse for wear but intact, and a few of our engineers on site believe we can easily get it flying and get the airliner flying again. This is, of course, if you want to. I shall soar the wings of liberty. That's cool. Air Force One. The true Ejército of Mexico. Hello, folks. This is Mr. New Vegas coming to you with a special report from south of the border. With the creation of the Baja State, the true Ejército de Mexico has officially formed before a crowd in the capital of La Yuque. While managed to the army will, of course, be consistent of light foot, mobile militias, and freedom fighters, the core of the army will send around power armor regulars, made up of volunteers from California and refugees fleeing Santa Ana's robot legions, outfitted with TB-1 power armor salvaged from the Brotherhood and gifted by the northern benefactors. Those Guerreros de la Libertad will soon be fighting alongside U.S. Army troops and many others, with many news outlets are reporting the Pan-American Alliance. That's the news, and coming up with a very special song for you. Semper Litis, and good luck. You guys have done that. Approaching the Sierra Madre. Our expedition was made up of scavengers, our fellow scientists, a few caravan guides, government archaeologists, and a heavy contingent of U.S. Army. Vertebrate flyovers pinpointed its exact location based on a caravan map and old brochure we found. Reports from the pilots reported a strange orange cloud that seemed to be emanating from the resort. As our expedition approached by foot, they encountered the cloud, which rapidly corroded and destroyed a protection scout we sent in to analyze the cloud. A soldier in advanced power armor was almost lost when he entered to collect a sample and had to be cut out of his armor. Thankfully, he succeeded in his mission, but had to be sent via air evac to New Vegas for treatment. A base camp has been set up, and a sample of the glass cloud has been sent to the Sierra Depot for testing. That's weird, but as far as pre-war stuff goes, it's pretty standard. Hey, he ain't wrong. Not a case of a green thumb. One of our scientists was trying to repair the elevator when he was ambushed by a spore carrier that was sleeping in some plants nearby. His suit was breached and he suffered severe lacerations to his legs and arms before his soldiers arrived and burned the spore carrier. He was rapidly evacuated to one of our medical centers, but we don't think he was infected with the spores, but we can't be sure. Security has been doubled, and the officer in charge has instructed his troops to burn areas of plants overgrowth. The other members of the science team is confident they can get the old oxygen recycling system working to spread the deflaunt. Poor man, I hope he's okay. Yeah, me too.
Enclave here. Enclave here.
tired of this fight. I'm going to send my power armor divisions up now. Rebuilding the 4 states Commonwealth. Is Kaiser out of the 4 states Commonwealth? That is a question being asked by caravan companies, prospectors, and travelers hoping to make their fortune in the Arizona desert. While the U.S. Army has said that most of the Legion was destroyed in battle, reports of ambushes by red-clad marauders and holdouts deep in the desert. Regardless of the Legion's situation, that has not stopped a deluge of individuals from entering the lands. Many have also turned their sights to Utah and Colorado, hoping to make contact with New Canaan and explore their legendary Dog City. The federal government has expressed the dangers involved in venturing too far into the frontier and has asked that any and all individuals check in on their local records office before leaving. If you thought the Mojave was hot. Let's see. Greatest power. Can't do anything there. We can reconcile our past. Oh, I got Warriors of Hordoris. Economic resurgence. My power armor should get up there relatively soon. Assisted in sinking some boats. Mostly just a bunch of some battle cruisers, some trimines, some brigs. Yeah. War's over down here. Select you, put you in 1,000 Oaks. You all did awesome. I'm gonna send you guys. Yep. Longer getting industrial support. The Choctaw Nation declares or demands territory.
This is Enclave main com.
I'm tired of fighting.
Enclave here.
Put you all here.
This is Enclave main com.
Let's put you all here.
Enclave here.
Put you all here.
Enclave here.
Put you all there.
Enclave here.
My ghouls can go
Enclave
there.
here.
Robots there.
Enclave here. This is Enclave main com.
Power armor here.
Enclave here.
And power armor right here. Everybody hurry over there. But yeah, quite a bit of infantry there. Seymour versus Agent Orange, the lead scientist on the Vault 22 project, has informed us that she and her team have gotten the recycling system working and are starting to pump the defluent through the vaults. In other news, soldiers made an assault on the 3rd floor, burning out much of the space and spore carriers down there. The commander has noted that their filters are requiring less change, meaning our efforts at torching the place are reducing the levels of spores infesting the vault. After arrested and refit, he plans on leading an assault on the 4th level of the fourth level of the vault, hoping by then the defluent has done its job. Where did we find a 300-year-old defluent? Who knows? Ready up the power grid. What else we got? Not there. Support sanitation. Oh, we can't afford it. further down. The Mormon Faith. City of Dogs. Secure Vault 24. And then these are about done. They've all accepted. The cloud. The chemical core has been studying the poison cloud that permeates the Sierra Madre. It's a horrifically corrosive, self-replicating, and toxic to the skin and lungs. It preserves dead flesh, seems to have a mutagenic properties, and why it was in a pre-war casino resort, we have no idea. Pretty standard for pre-war America, though. As for the weakness, it seems resistant to everything conventional we've thrown at it. We can incinerate it, but only at an incredibly high temperature, and it lives beyond a residue we then have to dissolve in acid. Cryogenics, however, seem to have the best effects, freezing the particles and causing them to fall to the ground. While that doesn't neutralize it, it does allow us to collect it for acid disposal. This may be our only chance to pierce this cloud and find the source of the strange cloud. From there, it can be frozen, dissolved, and hopefully forgotten about. I'm resisting the urge to do an ice pun here. I've already changed my mind. Bury the place. I guess I should just chill out. No! He made the pun anyway. All that was left are the bugs. The assault team made its way down to level 4 commons area, immediately reporting that the defoliant did its job. Much of the plant life is dead and decaying. With what little is left, they are happily burning up. They've come across possibly a dozen spore carrier remains, all dead by the defoliant, and have unceremoniously burned the bodies. The only real threat comes from a giant mantis that populate the lower ends of the vault. Hardly a problem for power armor soldiers. The science team has moved down and set up in the vault's overseer's office and have begun taking air samples ready to determine when it's safe to breathe in the vault. In a promising update, the injured scientist has returned to duty, thankfully not being infected or injured, and is ready to get to work. Great, seems like a worthy endeavor. Overextended administration has been removed. Hopefully there's better sentry bots. Ready up the power grid. Install police forces. I guess I can't do anything to get the sorrows. It's gone to the dogs. Never is a special case to the wasteland. While controlled by the hand dogs, they've never controlled the city itself. Instead, they roam the outskirts when the city itself is overrun by thousands of packs of wild dogs, if not more. And then there's the cyber dog problem. However, despite all this, they came a distinct salvage culture. These scavengers formed a relationship with the hand dogs that changed somewhat with the arrival of Khazar, and more or less upon our arrival. Sporting power armor, air support, mechanized units, and itchy trigger fingers, we managed to clear out large swaths of this so-called dog city. And already scavengers, settlers, and caravans made it for the legendary Mountain City, while some are still calling it Dog City due to the old maps and prelints. We've been enforcing its real name Denver on all official paperwork. Now if we can do something about the smell. We wept when we remember Zion. We may have liberated the people of Utah, but its inhabitants didn't seem to act like it. Many associate us with the Enclave purists who aided Khazar, and before the Great War, the United States government cracked down on Mormonism due to their opposition to security protocols. To Mormonize, we are occupying people who have been free since the Great War. As such, new Canaanite guerrillas kill our brave men and women, fanatics who quote the word of Joshua Graham, and swear to carry the fire of the Holy Spirit until they stand before the Lord of Judgment. Although we promise that the First Amendment protects Mormon faith, we have to do something to hold this troubled land down. Make them into a puppet. They shall tire. Waging war against good people is bad for the soul. Or just kill them all. That hurts my stability, manpower, and war support. This just hurts my stability. And I don't want to release them. We'll do this one. Hurts the stability, manpower, war support. Keeping up with the times, Vault 24 was intended as an experimental vault in Project Safe House. However, the residents of the vault seem to have developed a strange fascination with time, so much so that their impressive technological abilities seem almost secondary to their strangeness. When questioned by our troops and representatives, they only answered in cryptic sentences, and when questioned further, it only said that we would come to understand in time. Suffice to say, the officer in charge was ready to annihilate the entire vault, but decided against it. Curiously, when we checked the data log, our emissaries to the vault appeared to spent far longer time inside the vault than outside. Our techs say it may be an issue with our systems, internal chronometers, but for now we're willing to let Vault 24 become another version of Vault City in the Wasteland. Research speed. Who's this doctor they speak of? Warriors of Honduras. As we advance further into Mexico, we caught wind of the Guerreros de Honduras, a military nation claiming to be fighting off the horrors of South America. The thing is, no one can quite agree on what lies south of Honduras and the Darien Gap. The traders from South America claim of the Raiders Nation and monsters of the jungle, but we're inclined to believe the Hondurans. Despite appearances, they are stable and sizable government in the south and are more than open to receiving additional assistance from the United States to the north. You guys like power armor? Yeah, let them become our puppet. Let's do our northern domain. Pest control. The assault teams have reported they entered the caves beneath the vault, but were beaten back not only to the high spore count, but the amount of spore carriers, spore plants, and giant mantis in the caves beneath. The officer has requested that defluent be deployed down there as well, and barrels of the stuff are being prepared by the chemical corps. The scientist team, meanwhile, have begun research into the vault and its food production capability. It seems the secret to the vault's expansive flora is none other than Beauveria mordecana, the fungus that caused this mess. Well, we hope maybe it was a side effect. This is a major setback as we cannot hand out a fungus that turns people into plant zombie hybrids and hope that they can grow more food. Wow. Cavalry divisions are pushing forward. Power armor divisions have finally got there.
Enclave here. Enclave here. This is Enclave main comm. This is Enclave main comm. This is Enclave main comm.
Whoops.
Enclave here. Enclave here. This is Enclave main comm. Enclave here. This is Enclave main comm.
Say a majority of my troops have weaponry I don't want them to have. Guardians of the Pacific. Once the Southwest Master Jet Base for the United States Navy, the automated system or security system for one of America's most important installations in the Southwest has kept the facility relatively intact from various prospectors and scavengers. Now the base is returning to full operation status once again. A particular boon to us was the facilities for aircraft repair, allowing our pilots a better chance to train without the risk of damaging precious aircrafts, as they can be repaired relatively instantly. Improves air agility and age generation. Visalia changes to NAS Lamore. Some flamethrowers, thank you. Let's delete that unit. All view. Try to get my fighter people. These are all bomber guys. Select all of you. Station you all here. Your cast wing. Somewhere. Delete you. I know somewhere I have some. Maybe I don't. You all will be fine. It's like bombard groups. Fort Bliss. Fort Bliss served as our fortress along the Rio Grande and the development center for air defense. While pre-war, that was a much-needed component. Given the Chinese bombers striking in the northern lower 48 today, it almost seems frivolous to return the base to protecting against the air, or so we thought. From the power gliders to the airship of the Brotherhood, the Enclave may have dominated the skies once. Nowadays, we are finding ourselves challenged. Regardless how they managed to get the better part of our flight characteristics down, the facilities at Fort Bliss will allow us to maintain air control as well as serving as a jump-off point to our continued push into Texas. Adds the Vindicator EADS, gives a boost to Army Organization and Special Forces cap. U.S. Army Center for Intelligence Development, it's home to the center of the U.S. Army Intelligence Training Center. Much of Fort Hawachua has set aside for training the entirety of the U.S. Army MI Corps, and has been a particular interest for Colonel Callahan since restoring Red Mountain. Given the sensitive nature of the base, much of it was locked down with deadly automated traps, which we quickly deactivated with many of our more insidious traps we dismantled. The base has since been restored to full capability and is already expecting to graduate the next generation of military intelligence officers and enlisted to assist in our operations. Hilltop will change the name to Fort Hawachua. Improves intelligence gain across all branches. The Army Depot at Red River. You guys would like to continue to read these. Another step was to reduce supply consumption. Former Joint Munitions Center, serving the needs of the Army primarily as it moves munitions east to west. Secured and stored, reduces supply consumption. The Aurora Intelligence Armory. This was once a relatively small armory, expanded to exponentially as the resources war kicked off. Acting as an extension of Fort Carson, the Aurora Armory served as a control center for counterintelligence operations against communist sympathizers and Chinese infiltrators operating in and around Denver and beyond. Well secured, I see all. Boost intel and recon factor. Another Army depot. Didn't we store chemicals here? Reduces supply consumption. Flight Center of Oklahoma. President Swift was a true American. Wichita Falls will be renamed as Shepherd Air Force Base. Gives a boost to air mission efficiency and ace generation. Long before even the resource war, Shepherd Air Force Base was home to flight training, not just the United States, but even our allies in what was NATO. Sadly, Europe grew soft on communism, dissolved NATO after President Swift criticized them for not doing enough, then devolved into wars over petty resources. America's Mountain Fortress. Fort Carson was the largest base this side of the Mississippi River, home to thousands of soldiers, their families, and civilian contractors that worked there pre-war. Like our pre-war installations, the passage of time has not been kind. However, the base, its large size, importance, and even automated defense systems kept scavengers and even the Midwestern Brotherhood at bay. With automated systems removed, the base is ready to receive tenant units and their families, as well as preparing our soldiers for moving east across the United States. Gives a boost to the Army Organization and Special Forces cap. Home in the mountains. Fly Eagle Fly gives boost to air mission efficiency and ace generation. The Arizona Boneyard, sitting on the edge of the former city of Tucson. David Monthan Air Force Base was pre-known as the Boneyard, and the name carried over into the post-war area as well. Known for dismantling and disassembling of aircraft formerly in use by the U.S. government during the Resource War, the Air Force started raiding whatever they could to cut costs and keep aircraft in the air. Post-war, the cult of NAS in Tucson continued raiding it to get engine parts for their races, destroying the various defenses that usually kept pre-war bases safe from this kind of thing. Sadly, this has left the base pit clean of all parts, and that's not including the Legion and the little experiment with an Air Force. Man, someone should tell the Brotherhood about this. Improved air mission efficiency and ace generation. The Legion at Luke pre-war. Luke Air Force Base was a center for flight training as well as a strike center for missions into Mexico. Located west of Phoenix, the base was left untouched in the Great War, probably overlooked for more important targets that are safe thanks to House's lasers. Post-war, it was sat derelict as the automated defenses kept the tribes of Arizona at bay. Then the Legion arrived. Its twisted turn of events, the base was once again used as a training site, though mainly for new Legionaries to be thrown at the automated defenses to see if they could disarm or disable them. This, of course, wore down the defenses, but also led to a large pile of bodies we've discovered outside the base. Now that it is back in our hands, we've wasted no time in getting it set up to return pilots in the air. Fly Legion 5, Papago, changed the name to Luke Air Force Base, improves air mission efficiency and ace generation. What's going on at Holman? Slated to assist and support the White Sands missile range, the base was given over to air combat training and ground operations in the early 21st century. Though in the waning months of the resource war, it suddenly became home to a series of conspiracy theories involving aliens and top-secret government cover-ups. Given we came up with the greatest conspiracy of all time, you'd think we know about this. Perhaps it was something to do with the nearby remains of the Blue Rose Society and how they were very active in the region. Regardless, our pilots have reported strange lights in the distance and odd radio calls seeming to appear and disappear out of nowhere. All this could just be ghosts of the past. Pre-war technology still operating, however, sweeps the area have found nothing, but the base examiner thinks it's hysteria. Improves air mission efficiency and ace generation. Air Force Nuclear Weapons Center. Aside from having a sizable Air Force or air fighter component, Kirtland Air Force Base was home to the U.S. Air Force Nuclear Weapons Center. Atlantis was sitting right on top of it. The idea of a nuclear-capable Legion is enough to keep anyone up at night, and if it wasn't for their background thinking on technology, we might have seen the Legion nuking our own troops. We all can take a collective breath of relief, knowing that even if Atlantis did understand what he was sitting on, he wouldn't be able to figure out how to use them. He'd just as likely blow himself up in the process. Our scientists and engineers are working their way through the base right now, and while we have found a few nuclear weapons sitting in storage, their age and lack of repair made them highly volatile, and most are being dismantled for the time being as we take account of what we can and cannot use. Between this base and hopeful the United States has slowly regained its status as a nuclear power, let's hope we never have to unleash it. West, where Lanius failed, we shall rise. Castrum Saltius renames to Kirtland Air Force Base, improves air mission efficiency and ace generation. Guardians of the Cheyenne Mountain. Primary tenants of the nearby Cheyenne Mountain Complex, better known as NORAD. Pre-war, the base served as a round-the-clock sentinel for any foe, be it American, Canadian, or Chinese. We would try and bring NORAD offline. It was even said that the base in the surrounding area was more secure than Washington, D.C. Then the Great War happened, and the base was hit several times by Chinese nukes and left to rot. Given the importance of the region, the U.S. Air Force wasted no time in restoring the old base. While there still remains much work to be done at NORAD, the base itself has been brought online for support as well as general defense in cooperation with nearby Fort Carson. Castle Rock changes its name to Peterson Air Force Base, improves air mission efficiency and ace generation. On the banks of the Rio with Texan Arms, a former air training command base on the banks of the Rio Grande, while primarily given over to training, the base further served as a refueling base for peacekeeping missions into Mexico. Fly Eagle Fly, improved air mission efficiency and ace generation, if you guys want to read that. Fly high over Atlas, set around training for our air transports and air refueling. The scope of our operation solely stretched from coast to coast. Set in Oklahoma, which was spared much of the nuclear bombs of the Great War, the base set derelict with scavengers picking over it for advanced components or anything else they could find. Corroded Fields, named to Atlas Air Force Base. Removing the Legion Fort Navajo. Pre-war, the National Guard training camp base became a sprawling installation following our pacification of communist terrorists in Mexico. It received a hit during the Great War and was left to ruin until Khazar and the Legion came along. Seeing the use of the facility for staging and training grounds, the Legion cleared it, and the place became a massive fortress, a symbol of the Legion's might. Even the mighty United States had trouble securing the mighty fortress, having to resort to leveling the place with heavy ordnance. Ironically, the heavily shelling destroyed much of the Legion's infrastructure, and the Army is restoring the base to its pre-war American ways. It's also be a site of a massive prisoner camp as we figured out what exactly to do with the survivors of the Legions. Give these Legion bulls out of here, give a boost to Army Organization and Special Forces cap. Back from the brink, the largest Marine air station on the West Coast, MCAS Yuma, proved vital in the U.S. intervention into Mexico pre-war, protecting vital Petro Chico refineries as well as striking at cartels, revolutionaries, and the occasional Chinese infiltrators. It also assisted in anti-smuggling operations in the Gulf of California, though this turned into a large role as most smugglers were long gone by the time the Marine aviators arrived. URA Marines, improved ground attack and ace generation. Center of the Colorado, nestled just west of Bloomfield, Yuma, proving grounds has a storied history as it was here where West Tech field tested their first suits of T-45A power armor, ushering a new age of American dominance on the battlefield and shaping the planet for centuries to come. The vulnerable T-50A suits and even the T-65 series saw their first field test here and the very same suits were found secured in the base's museum. Thankfully, the Legion avoided this place as much of the heavy automated defenses were still operational by the time we arrived, allowing us to secure the base and bring it up to speed without much trouble. Field test here. Neat. Reduces supply consumption, improves division attack. Skies over Denver, serving as a defense for NORAD and Inland Air Force Base, Inland Air Base. Ackland Buckley Air Force Base has seen far better days. It took the Air Force 2 weeks to remove the dog infestation, and even then there is still the smell. Thankfully, both the Hand Dogs and Legion found little use for the base, instead leaving it to the elements where the Air Force was able to work with given they didn't have to clear out any Legion or tribal iconography only dogs. I'm not afraid of some city, improved air mission efficiency and H generation. Hazardous environment in New Mexico. Santiago Marine Base has had to propose pre-war guard. Oh, okay. So Santiago Marine Base had to purpose pre-war guard Kirtland Air Force Base and watch over White Sands. The President, of course, entrusted the Marines with this task, and they were even slotted to protect Black Mesa Research Facility before a reconnaissance cascade of financial failures put the research titan under. Following this, it was here the powered combat vest was tested by the Marines at the base before Westek acquired the company in charge of the PCVE and developed into the iconic power armor of the 21st century. I thought this was Arizona. Improved amphibious attack and special forces capacity. White Sands at Fort Wingate, recommended by the Army to act in defense of Los Alamos. Fort Wingate served home to the Missile Defense Agency for some time before it was closed down and funded to move it elsewhere when it was determined that defenses against missiles was better suited to the private market. Don't believe us? Look at Vegas. It seems some contractors who knew the end of the world was coming to manage to get the systems up and running and spread the fort the ravages of nuclear Armageddon. However, that didn't stop radiation and the cruelty of irradiated Mother Nature. Left to rot over all these years, we found the base windswept and derelict. Hardly anything left of a few buildings and the remains of a defense laser. Army Corps has spent their time restoring and rebuilding the barracks and command buildings, bringing the base to full working order. If only we could get it working. Give a boost to Army Organization and Special Forces Cap. Stanley Depot at Camp Bullis, both a training site and a large depot for storage. Stanley Army Depot was emptied out by the Alamo chapter after they discovered that without access to the forges of Dallas, their weapons run out fast, especially when there is a mad Mexican robot coming after you trying to revive past glory. Regardless, stocking the depot with arms and ammunition again will take the strain off our extended supply line and acts as a good buffer as we continue to head east. Reduces supply consumption. Skies over Lubbock. Unlike eastern Texas, Lubbock was not exactly keen on taking to the skies. However, that didn't mean they weren't going to scavenge Reese for all it's worth. The Air Force is reporting a carcass pit clean of everything, including more than a few kitchen sinks. They had to fly in more material that was necessary, and we think it boils down to the space along the I-20 that caravan merchants could always steal into Reese to find something to sell. After 200 years, it appears they sold everything. The base is operational, at least by military standards, but more than one airman is complaining about the lack of heated showers. Of course they are. Improved air mission efficiency and H generation. Wow, that was an absolute crazy amount to read. Was it chemical? The reservation. Houston Rockets can become a federal commonwealth. The Baggers, Circle Junction, Cypher's Sorrows, and the Bayou Motors become a federal commonwealth. Okay. We can invite Honduras. Alright. Well, with this, I'm going to end the episode. There's a lot of reading. And then it's kind of went a little bit long, but I'll read this real quick. A white Sierra Wonderland. The Cairo plan worked with the Army engineers and modified vehicles and power armor. Cut a hole through the cloud. From there, the frozen particles were collected for disposal. And a corridor of industrial fans were installed to supply the engineers working their way to the resort. As they approached the city, however, they started taking fire from a series of crazed tribals in hazmat suits living in the resort villa. Being we didn't expect anyone to be alive, our troops weren't equipped to return fire and were forced to call in air support while reinforcements arrived. After a few hours of advancing under fire from a seemingly unending number of tribals, we reached the gates of the Sierra Madre and are preparing to enter the resort now. The casino is worth it, right? Right? Think of the money. Alright, well, with that, I'm going to end the episode. Hope you all have enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.